Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel. My name is Paul, and I'm joined tonight by Sam and a very, very special guest coming up in just a moment. Of course, Newcastle United Women's midfielder Georgia Gibson will be joining us. We do have questions planned for Georgia, but if you do have anything in the chat you'd like to ask her, within reason, of course, guys, please put them in the chat, and we'll try and ask her as many as you can. But if you do enjoy tonight's show, as usual, please do hit that like button for us. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss an uploaded video or a live show. And of course, you can support the channel in the usual two ways. First of all, by membership, which is the join button just underneath us. And of course, super chats are available. So if you want to help us that way, the $ underneath the live chat, and that will guarantee your comments to be read out on the show. And of course, a big thank you to our sponsors, Mamaroo Records, based in Whitley Bay, of course. If you're ever in the town centre of Whitley Bay, pop in, see Steve at Mamaroo. Music, vinyls, CDs, merchandise, sporting merchandise, gift cards, they do it all. Pop in and tell Steve you're a Toon Review viewer, and he will do you a very good deal. But if you can't get into the shop itself, they do have an online presence, which is linked at the top of the description. Good evening, Sam.
Oh, well, hello, Paul. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. I noticed you wearing a particular item of clothing tonight. Do you want to explain what that is, first of all?
Do you like it? I've seen people in the chat already where Sam get a hat from. The
It's Bella. Well, all will be explained very, very soon.
It will indeed.
It will indeed. Well, we may as well just bring our special guest on straight away and get on with it, shall we say? Because Sam, you have the questions loaded up, but it is our honour to bring on somebody who has, represented Newcastle United Women for quite some time now, been through the journey, and is a fantastic goal scorer at the Gallagher end, of course, at St James's Park. She's well known for that. Good evening to Georgia Gibson.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
We are good. Georgia. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. How are you feeling?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Don't worry. Absolute pleasure. Sam, you've watched the ladies team a lot this season. I've seen quite a few games, obviously online as well. What is it about Georgia that makes her such a special player, do you think?
I mean, get ready to be embarrassed, Georgia. Like, Paul, what a way to start
question. Absolutely.
No pressure or anything. Do you know what? I think arguably like one of the most familiar faces that have been with us, like, through the journey. I think, you know, people from the Northeast, you know, football's life. And I think especially for, you know, a woman being from the Northeast, like having that type of role model and providing, you know, the entertainment, the accessibility, and showcasing to young women everywhere that they can get involved with a game and have an amazing career. And, you know, back-to-back promotions you've been with us for several seasons, just the goals at St James's, just absolutely class, and yeah, just unbelievable. So thank you so much for joining us.
What's it like, Georgia, to be known as Gallagher Gibson?
First of all, thank you very much for that. But no, I think like it's surreal. I think it's one of the proudest kind of titles that I would never have imagined of getting. I remember when I was little saying to like my mum and dad, "Oh, I'm going to play St James's Park for Newcastle," and they were like, "No, like you're not. Like unfortunately, that's the men that play there. Like I don't even think there's a women's team." So, but like maybe one day, do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, when it was like able to happen, and it's happened, and how successful we've been at St James's Park, and obviously the goals I've scored, it's like one of the something that'll obviously live with me forever, and a really, really proud achievement.
Yeah. And you know what, I was this sort of a question that I wanted to ask, because you're a local lass, you've been with us prior to the takeover in the lower leagues, and through that whole progression where you've progressed and kicked on yourself as well. You know, Amanda's involvement, it's really changed the course of history for women's football in the Northeast and for Newcastle United Women as well. So what's that journey been like, and having Amanda coming in for that change?
Yeah, it's been certainly throughout my time at the club, it's been like a bit of a roller coaster. Actually, when I first joined, I think we were almost struggling to stay in Tier 4. It was kind of we need to sign some players if we want to stay in the league, let alone win it. And my first season, we came so close. It it was the first ever time we played at St James's Park against Alnwick. It was a fantastic day, a fantastic occasion, 24,000 fans, and all of it that came with it. And actually, when we got back into the changing room, we sat down and we went, we've lost the league today. Liverpool Feds have won, we've lost the league. And it was like, it then brought you straight back down to earth of actually, our ultimate aim is to inspire, to be role models, to kind of show the city, like you said, that it's possible to be a female from the Northeast and play the professional game, but equally to be able to continue to do that and for that to be longevity for a lot of young girls, we have to win leagues. And that day we'd actually lost the league, so it was a funny one, but it just gave us a biting hunger to go back the year after and go and win it. And obviously that one went right down the bitter end at Barnsley away on the Cows Field, to put it politely.
Yeah, it wasn't very nice, was it?
But I mean, it made it all the more
pitch.
special. That was arguably the best day I've ever had in a black and white shirt. It was just surreal. And then again, like you said, to do it back to back straight away in Tier 3 up to the Championship. That's when it was kind of like, wow, we've done something special here. And we're going to continue to do something special.
I absolutely love that. And I think it probably not a lot of people realize this, but am I right in thinking that you were actually born in Durham, but you grew up in Dubai and you got to score a pen in front of a footballing legend? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so yeah, born in Durham, moved to Dubai when I was, I think, 7 or 8, with my family, grew up there. And then, yeah, it was actually, I think it was the last year I was living there. I was playing in the local women's league there, which it's not like a high level, or at the time it wasn't. And I remember setting up to take this penalty, and there was a bit of camaraderie around it. There was a bit of, the referee was sorting something out, and it was 7-a-side, so the goals were a bit smaller. So you're thinking, right, I've really got to like think about where I'm putting this. And I remember putting the ball down, lifting my head up, and to the left of the goal, like Diego Maradona stood there, and I'm like,
no way.
I'm sure I know him. So, like, I'm like, what? This pitch was actually out the back of a school as well. It was like the school pitch, and it's like 9 o'clock at night or something on a random Thursday. My mum, dad there watching, probably my twin brother. Everyone's like, oh, you've got to put this goal in the back of the net. And I put it in and we scored whatever and we won. And then at the end of the game, he came over and he was like, you are a very good player. And I was like, no, you're a very good player.
What, Maradona actually said that? Bloody hell. That's incredible.
So that was a crazy moment, but something that I was like taken aback by. And actually, it turns out that his partner at the time was actually playing against me. So that's why he was out, because I was like, why is he here watching? And when it unfolded, his partner was actually playing. So
that's wild. Did you clock and realize who it was before you took the penalty? Because that's a bit of additional pressure.
Well, I was like, oh, I know. I feel like I recognize that guy. He looks a bit like Diego Maradona. And then I was like, no, it has to be. That has to be who it is. He's so distinct in what he looks like, and he was tiny. He was really short, and there was like 2 big lads stood behind him who obviously were like bodyguards, and it soon like pieced together. But I was thinking, like, only in Dubai would that happen.
I can't actually believe how small Maradona was, because I saw him at Soccer Aid a few years back now with Old Trafford, and he was doing his famous warm up, with his laces undone. He's keep up. And I thought, my God, he is tiny. But what a player! Well, what an experience that must have been. Sam, Stato's asked a question, so I think we better put that in, or he'll take the huff. He won't come on as a colleague anymore if we don't. He says, what are the differences in training, Georgia, since the rise up the leagues? Session creativity, deeper tactical work, more physical work, more coaches, and what's your favorite change to the training?
Yeah, I think naturally with the progression of the leagues, the intensity goes up. Obviously, the intensity of the games have gone up, so therefore we've got to try and match that, if not better, in training to then be able to replicate that in the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, it goes without saying the caliber of players we've brought in they've brought wealth of experience from players who've played in different countries, WSL, Championship. So yeah, no, the standard is crazy. Some all of the girls that we've got are very talented, and they've all got their own unique kind of qualities, and that's what makes us the team that we are. That all of those qualities come together. So yeah, we're learning every single day off each other, off the coaches, again, the staff that we've kind of come through the club. Some have obviously left. We've brought new staff in, but every single person kind of from where my journey started to where it is now, I've learned a wealth of experience.
I guess it's the same for all your colleagues and Becky as well, isn't it? It's everybody's on a learning curve the higher you go.
Yeah, you've got it, and I think you've got to be open to learning. Obviously, you've got to take some kind of credit to where you've got to, for what kind of your capabilities are. Obviously, I'm proud of kind of what I'm able to do, but then I've also, and as likewise to the staff and the players, we have to be open to learning off each other. That's the only thing that's going to kind of get us better and allow us to grow. Which everybody takes on board all the information really well.
And it must feel really special as well, because, you know, I'd follow everybody on Instagram. I've got like the coach and stuff on there as well. And it's like this constant evolution for the team where there's always something new to take on. There's new people to sort of learn from and aspire to be. But I think what all of us as fans, because for those in the chat and our viewers who don't know, we do a dedicated women's show called the War Lasser Show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So check it out if you haven't already. But a lot of the fans in there really notice the difference in how much we felt comfortable in this league. We've got Aaron Embleton. She's an ex-Lioness who was saying to all of us, wow, this is such a step up. You know, we may not get the success that we've seen in previous seasons here, so everybody just calm down. But actually, you seem just so comfortable in the league that we've got. And I think, you know, the whole team's making all of us so proud. Just the success has been incredible for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We've spoke a lot about the momentum off the back of 2 promotions. I think, yes, they're tier 4, and then you've got tier 3 in their lower leagues and what we're playing in now. But to be a kind of a winning team, a team that's used to winning, is always a tough ask of the opposition, and we pride ourselves on winning. But prior to the championship, we weren't used to losing. It would be 1 or 2 games max per season, and they would predominantly be in the cup games rather than league. I think also in previous seasons, obviously we drew the likes of Manchester United last year. A couple of seasons we drew Ipswich Town in the, I'm going to say FA Cup, I think 3rd round, which was our first ever game at Kingston Park. So at the time that was a big game for us. It was a league above. They were kind of winning that league. They were leading away. It looked like they were going to get promoted. So we've taken those learning opportunities, and now we see ourselves as kind of that team that everyone wants to play to learn from us. We know we can do the job. We know what we can offer. And Demi Stokes, quite often at the end of games, if it hasn't gone our way, he'll say we were beaten today. The opposition didn't beat us. And again, I think that's really interesting, and I think a lot of the girls buy into that. Kind of, if we're not going to be successful, it's down to ourselves. We've got to put that right. Because I think on our day, we know that we can kind of match, if not better, the majority of, or if all opposition in our league.
God, that's an incredible mindset. And we've seen that play out, though. We've seen that mindset against some of like the stronger teams who are really familiar with this league, with the standard, with the physicality of it as well. And actually seeing that type of the phrase play out that, you know, we're beat, you know, not the opposition beating us. I think that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that. Probably something that I wanted to ask about, because you've had the honor of playing at St. James's several times. We've talked about, you know, fancying that goal at the Gallagher end and stuff like that. But you actually recently got presented your 100th appearance award at St. James's as well. I mean, there was the War Flags display on the day. I mean, how did it feel to reach such an important milestone and get it presented at the Cathedral on the Hill?
Yeah, it's a really proud moment. It was a really proud moment for myself. I think, like you say, there's been so many special memories there. I think some of my greatest memories, obviously, in a black and white shirt, goes without saying. To hear the Blaine races before you're walking out, to hear the local hero playing in the crowd, and you've got everyone with their scarves, and like you say, the War Flags displays that's quite emotional when you get to see that, because again, I go to a lot of the men's games, and And I'm always thinking, wow, it must be such a special feeling for the likes of Isak when they walked out. I was in the Leazes stand for that display, and you've got the Anthony Gordon. There's been a few Brazil displays and stuff like that, and you think that is a really special feeling for those players. It makes you feel kind of loved, supported, and kind of acknowledged by the fans. And I think also I've had some difficult times this season, and I think that fell at a really good time for me. On a personal note, that kind of it kind of reminded me exactly what I have achieved here. And 100 appearances for your home club, like you say, being presented at St James's Park, was just a really, really special moment.
Nothing's easy in football, is it? It's a very much a roller coaster. But it you know, from what you were saying earlier on about, you know, being a kid saying you're going to score a goal at St James's, to then get that presented to you at St James's, I mean, that's something only us fans could ever pipe dream about. The emotions must have been so high that day.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's like, it goes without saying that it's something that, like you say, any Geordie would ever dream of.
Yeah.
And I remember when I reached my 100 appearances away to Birmingham, which again was a fantastic game, when we won a 2-0 win. And when it didn't sink in until we were on the bus back, and the lasses were like, "You do realise the next home game is St James's Park?" And I was like, "Oh wow, like that's where I'm gonna receive it." And then when Sue Cummins kind of like support that and said, "Yeah, it will be at St James's Park," it was a little bit emotional.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple of super chats, Sam. So, Bruv Butler, who's been a member for 15 months on the channel, thank you very much. He says, I would love nothing more than for the lasses to be playing in the WSL. But the question to Georgia is, do you think we have what it takes with the team we have at the moment? Now, obviously, that's a question about the team, so you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. But it's just, I think what he probably means is the ambition of the team. Do you think, with all the collective motivation, the skill set you've got in the team as well, that could promote you again?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we go into training every day. We go into every match. We strongly believe that we kind of are a force to be reckoned with. We still have a really good core group of Geordies in the team. We're like the girls again. We get called the OGs. We've been there obviously a number of years, but we're not shy to kind of tell our story and kind of pass on that passion, that pride, and what have you to the new girls, and they're really quick to adopt that. They're really quick to have the same love for the club, in terms of we like to tell them to get along to the men's games, see the atmosphere, see what all of that's about, and straight away they're like, wow, this is incredible. They've never been clubs that kind of have that kind of special feeling to it. So everybody that comes through the door, Newcastle United Women, knows exactly what it means to the city. Like I said before, the ultimate aim is obviously to inspire, to kind of make sure that not just little girls but little boys as well know that there's that accessibility within the city, within the region, that they can become footballers if they put everything to it. It was only 3 years ago that I was teaching kids in a full-time teaching job, and I never thought any of this would even be possible. So in terms of going back to the question about the WSL, we believe, if you don't believe, it's not going to happen. So every single day we believe exactly where we want to get to, and we will get to the WSL. I have absolutely no doubt about that. Obviously we'll no doubt see kind of a change in the team over the years. I think that's undoubtedly got to happen to get the team to where it wants to be. But as a current group of players, we'll be doing everything we can to get to the WSL as quick as we can.
The camaraderie in that, what I see in the women's team is incredible. You know, the social media presence, I think, is helping as well. You know, when I love the videos where you guys are walking into training and you get asked a daft question before you go to the training pitch when you come out the dressing room, and there just seems to be so much. And you've got to have that aspect of fun as well, rather than the serious side as well, because it's got that's what creates the camaraderie, isn't it? When you've got a bit of a good, I mean, we've had a question in the comments asking who's the joker in the pack, but I think you've all got the personalities where you seem to just bounce off each other.
Yeah, definitely. We have fun every day. There's no denying that. Yes, we're serious when we get to work on the pitch, but even out there on the pitch, in the gym, especially in the dinner room, you've got to watch your back in the dinner room. You never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I think, like I say, we've got a lot of local lasses, which is kind of helping to carry on that that special feeling that's within the team right now. And also the girls that are coming in, the minute they walk in the door, they're like, we're telling them, do you realise what this means? And they're straight on board with it. And yeah, they're all class, lovely girls. Many of them, obviously, most of them will be friends for life, as well as kind of teammates. But yeah, it's great. It's great in the camp.
Your mate Alexander Allard's sent in a super chat, Sam. I don't know whether you've seen it.
I haven't, no.
Well, thank you for your super chat, mate. He says, seeing you all play have shown more technical ability, communication and fight than most men teams. And he says, by the way, you are my celebrity crush after I met you. So he's obviously met you somewhere along the line, but I mean, you can't miss him. He works in the health side of things, and he's
he's built like a tank, this lad. He's an absolute tank. Yeah.
Yes, Sam got all dreamy one Friday night on the show, Georgia, but that's a different thing. You got any more questions there, Sam?
Yeah, certainly. What I probably wanted to ask is, you've talked about, like, you know, new lasses and fresh blood coming through and stuff, and, you know, instilling the sense of value about what it means to the sort of Northeast. But it must be quite an honor sometimes, because our fan base for the lasses is massive. The support's unreal. We've got our own War Flags displays. You know, the War Flags have got their very own monthly donation service set up now, so we can support and get yous geared up and get yous ready. Sort of like, we're there ready to be 12th man at all the games. The away support's unbelievable as well. Do they realise how idolised they are, and do they sort of feel that love from the fans and see how it's different to other teams in the Championship?
Yeah, definitely. Again, that is something that we'll be forever grateful for, kind of the support right in Tier 4. It was crazy. Like I say, back to that Barnsley game, we must have had nearly 400 or 500 travelling fans that day, which is like crazy. And like you say, the girls, when they come in, we're like, oh, wait till the first home game of the season, wait till every home game of the season, wait till the away days. Like, there's busloads of people come and see us, and they're getting the trains and they're getting flights, and some of the girls are like, no, yeah, I'm sure it's great, and then when they see it, they're like, all right, okay, you guys are telling the truth. And we say it everywhere, we have the best fans. It goes without a doubt. I think, well, it's clear we're challenging with the likes of Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal in terms of kind of our fan base, the numbers that we're getting, the noise that our fans are making, like you say, the efforts of the flag displays. We've seen kind of fans coming into Kingston Park like 2 hours before games just to set up the flags in the seats, and by the time we go to warm up, which is like nearly an hour before kickoff, there's already like 1,000 fans sat there. Rain, sun, wind, you name the weather, they are there in the numbers, and it's absolutely fantastic. The last chat in the change room before we come out is certainly at home game is, I wonder what the attendance is today, and I wonder what the flag display is today. We look forward to seeing you guys, and certainly after the game, I think that interaction that we get to have with the fans is really special as well. I think it allows, especially the girls who are new to the area and we say new to the team, obviously they haven't been here for as long as a lot of us. I think it allows them to feel more at home. It allows the fans to get to know them. So when they're playing, they feel like they really are a part of the journey and the club. And it's not just kind of the home players that get that kind of love and support. The fans are absolutely fantastic and will forever be kind of in debt to the fans.
Well, do you know what? It's like I think there's almost a feel of a sense of connection, you know, and when you see the kids like at the sidelines, you know, waiting to get the shirt signed now, it's unbelievable. Like they're so excited, and the roar of the crowd and the chants that we've got as well. It's absolutely class to be a part of. It's a spectator sport, but you feel like you're in it as a Newcastle fan because you're there just getting so passionate on the sidelines and supporting yous all the way. But I think a question for me, because you've touched on it a little bit about seeing like the younger sort of like, you know, younger boys, younger girls who are going to games. Would you have any advice? Because I mean, you've gone to university, you're a teacher as well, about how young women can get into football.
Yeah, I think first and foremost you've got to support your local grassroots clubs, and that's where you kind of got to start. We'll all have a story. Obviously, before I went to Dubai, I was playing for my local village, and a lot of the girls, whether they're from the northeast or not, have got that kind of same starting story. And then as well, I think especially within the northeast, a lot of us didn't necessarily come through academies, which is kind of refreshing to hear, that you don't have to be in there young. It's not like the lads where a lot of the time you've got to get in young and you've got to try and stay fit and you've got to get you've got to get your scholarship, then you've got to get your first contract, and then you've got to get, do you know what I mean? And I think in the women's game, I think that's a special part about it, that and the girls, they can play for their grassroots and they can just continue, and hopefully one day they will be spotted. The girls' academies are coming along, that they're there. I think there's still a little bit of work to be done on them in terms of the accessibility to them.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, Georgia, the Premier League have actually started certainly I live in Durham myself as well. So my stepdaughter Lily, she plays for her primary school. They've started a sort of incentive at Meadowfield Sports Centre, where schools from around the region all play on a Tuesday night. They play in a league format. They only play 10 minutes, so obviously they're still very young. But it's an all-girls league, so it's girls from all primary schools around County Durham playing in a league format. And then Lily's team made the final, lost on penalties, unfortunately, but it's just inspiring. And it's but seeing how you guys, and Sam mentioned it before, interacting with everybody after the game, and that's something you just don't see in the men's game. You don't see the players going to the fans and getting photos and autographs. And I think that is what inspires, certainly for me, young girls to go out there and say, "Oh, I can do this. I fancy playing," because it's a lot. From when I was at school, you didn't see girls playing football. You just didn't. It wasn't a thing. But now, this incentive, they've got all these primary school girls coming together and playing football at such a young age. And then seeing you guys and the success you're having, it just inspires them to really put their heads down and say, "Yeah, I want to be a footballer," where they didn't have a chance like that a few years back.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what they've got to believe, that they can be. They've got to believe that job is there and accessible for them to do. Likewise, if they wanted to become a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, whatever they want to do. I think like you say, the girls only tournament, kind of girls only leagues, they're all really important, and they're a massive part of the women's game growing. Like you say, I think even kind of 15 years back when I was playing, we had to play in boys teams right until the bitter end, until we were told, right now you can't do it, the lads are too physical or what have you. I grew up with a twin brother. Ben, he liked to play in goal, so that was quite handy in the garden. I would like to belt the ball at him, but so that was kind of my way into football. But we now shouldn't need a way into football. That girls' football should be there from the get-go. If they want to play 100%. That football, it should be there, and it should be advertised, and it should be right in front of their eyes to go and do.
Well, there's an interesting question from Joe Wilkinson coming. It's similar to what I told you before we came live about seeing you at Starbucks, Georgia. She says, question for Georgia, do you like being recognised? I'm only asking as my daughter served you a couple of times in Tesco in Chesley Street, and she didn't want to say anything, but finally did. She's got blue hair. Interesting. But what's it? It must be a bit of a difference now to what it was like a few years ago, really, to the popularity. How do you feel about people recognizing you?
Yeah, I really don't mind it. I love it. In fact, I think it's important. We're role models in our own right. I think. Yeah. When I was a teacher, it was a little bit different. I had to kind of protect a little bit more from that in terms of outside. But even when I was a teacher, I would take the kids to fixtures, like even a netball or a hockey fixture, and I'd be turning up, and the kids on the other school would be like, "Oh my God, have you seen who their teacher is?" And they'd be like running over at half time with scrap pieces of paper and pen and water bottles and trainers, and will you sign this? We sign this. And I remember the other teachers being like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Like and I'm like, no, that's fine. Like I'm here to inspire. I'm here to be a role model, and if that's what if that's what they want to do, then that's absolutely fine. And again, when people see me out and about, I'm always happy to chat. I'm always happy to do what I can, because I think also you've got to bring your feet back onto the ground a little bit and remember where you've come from. And it was like I say, it was 3 years ago. None of this was happening. So you've got to be really grateful for where we've got to.
Brilliant. Well, Georgia, I wanted to ask you, because what a leap of faith that you've taken, because you're a teacher, like you've just told us a little bit about it then. It's probably teed this up quite nicely. Was there any second guesses or doubting when you heard the news that you could go full time and actually do this as a career? That's a massive leap of faith.
Yeah, it's huge. It came as a surprise. We were part-time, and the full-time came as a surprise. It was actually a really stressful time for me. A little bit of background story around that. Becky and Sue Cummins, who's our general manager, got me in. I think it was before we won Tier 4. It was a week before it. And they said, this is news that nobody else has heard, but if we win on Sunday, we will be going full-time. And I was like, wow. Okay, it's May, it's nearly the end of term, and I'm a teacher. Like, this is going to be a big change for me. Yeah. We won that game, and I remember thinking, I can't now tell any of the lasses because they still don't know. The news came really quickly after that, but I remember thinking, like, okay, what do I do now? Like, I've actually got a decision to make. And I went into school, and I was actually one of the 4 members of staff going to South Africa for a 3-week trip. And literally we're talking hours before I flew. I think I went into school at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had to be back at school for 4 p.m. to get the bus to Manchester Airport. And I'm sat there with my head of department, the head teacher of the school, and Sue Cummins on a Zoom call in the meeting room at school. And Amanda, my head teacher, was like, right, okay, she's going to South Africa in like 9 hours. What is she doing? Is she going to teach? This is like July as well. Is she teaching with us? Or is she going full time at football? And thankfully to Newcastle High School for Girls, where I was working, and the club, we managed to sort it out, and literally flew back from South Africa 3 weeks later, landed on the night time. The next morning I was in being a professional footballer. It was literally that quick of a turnaround. But it was stressful, because I remember the last day of school as well, the kids had no idea about it. I had to keep it really quiet in case it didn't come off. And the kids were like, oh, see you next year, guys, miss. And I was like, yeah, see you next year, girls. Yes. And I remember thinking in my head, like, I'm lying to these kids. I'm probably not.
Maybe I won't.
No disrespect to them. Hopefully I don't see them next year, because I would like to be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I literally had no idea what I was doing. I remember getting on that plane to South Africa, and the other teachers were like, are you okay? And I was like, what on earth has just happened the last 12 hours?
Well, you still got the trip to South Africa as well, which was a bonus.
Got the trip to South Africa, which was a hell of a trip. And actually, I've missed out on that story. I actually landed from Tenerife on a personal holiday with my partner at like 7 o'clock in the morning. We got a taxi back home. I jumped straight in my car and drove to school for that meeting. So it was just like crazy. Like the 12 hours was mad, but yeah, it's all worked out.
Talk about whirlwind. Jesus, that's crazy.
I love it. Everybody needs an origin story. That's a class one. But I tell you what, I wanted to ask Georgia. It leads me on quite nicely, because you're full time now. You've played for Newcastle for many years. Everything's really changed for you, but you're having to balance work, balance life. But you've also got a business now. So you have set up Belter Clothing. People, you're talking about the hats.
Representing it well.
It's fab. It's absolutely fab. And we are going to put the link in, so don't worry. I can see people asking where I'm getting it from. But this has been wild. Like, I first clocked it on Insta, didn't know it had anything to do with you, and then saw you like repost something. I mean, you've only recently launched it, but it's just been mad. Like, it has been another whirlwind for you. So tell us about how it started, how it's come about, and what's the response you've had.
Yeah, mad is to say the least. A few months back, me and my partner were like, what is something we can kind of do that's like ours, that represent us? Both massive advocates for the Northeast. We love anything kind of that represents the region and stuff like that. And the word belter is just Northeast kind of it's just a northeast word, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We say it a lot, like in passing comments and stuff like that. My partner's favorite song is it Joey Cinnamon? She is a belter.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then one day we just were like, I was just like, everybody does the kind of I love my t-shirt collection is like ridiculous. I think I've got like over 100 t-shirts lined up in color coordination in my wardrobe. Like everyone knows I love a t-shirt. So at first I was like, oh, t-shirts, like let's do like clothing and hoodies and stuff like that. Now I would love to go. I will go into that eventually, but then I thought, but to kind of catch the eye, it's got to be something different. So we were like, well, it's coming up to winter. Let's do a woolly hat. The first thought was a bucket hat. Now bucket hat will come quite soon. Belter buckets was our original idea.
Belter buckets. That's tremendous.
Class.
So, and then we were like, oh, you can't really sell buckets. Can you sell buckets at winter time? Belter beanies. Right, okay, let's go with belter beanies. So yeah, no, honestly, got the hats ordered, got everything set up. The hats came and my partner was like, she was playing futsal one day and I texted her. She was like not replying obviously because she was busy, and I texted her. I was like, so I might have done something. I might have already uploaded the hats online. I was like, what? We haven't even spoke about it. Like the hats have just arrived yesterday. We haven't set up social media. And I was like, no, I have. I've done it. And she was like, oh, you're joking me. So at first she was like, oh, like I need to get home. We need to have a look at this properly. Like, what have you done? And then I rang her back an hour later and I was like, so we might need to put another order in for hats. She was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, they are flying out. Like they are just like gone. So yeah, no, it's been like great. Obviously we set up all the social media properly and we've got the post going out, and which we're just running ourselves. We have got a website which will come soon. Somebody's just bought a hat as we're talking. So no, it's like crazy. I think there's literally like 3 hats left on the shelf. So the next order is all
quickly show a picture of them. So I'm obviously, I got in there nice and early, so I got the black one. I'm gutted I missed out on the light grey, but you've like got the whole kit and caboodle there. But you know, you've got so much scope with where you can go with it. I'm definitely fingers crossed for the bucket hats for like at the matches. Absolutely.
Well,
I'm glad you went for the woolly.
The thing is, Sam, my fiancée Susan, she used to be a proper raver back in that time, and she loved the bucket hat. So I will definitely be purchasing one of them for her.
Get in.
She loves the bucket hat. She always has done since her youth. Well, Simon Rudd's asked a question as well, Georgia, basically about, you know, what do you plan on doing when you hang up your football boots? Do you fancy coaching, or is, you know, the business of the clothing range and things like that, is that what you want to maybe focus on?
Yeah, I mean, like we say, it's been a whirlwind. Originally, it was kind of one of them things where I was so used to being busy with teaching and playing. Kind of, obviously, a lot of the training used to be on a night time, so I was always like really busy with that. And then when it went full-time football and I got my evenings back and stuff, and I was like, now what do I do? So that's kind of where it originated from. And it was originally going to be like a bit of a side hustle, kind of where can this go? And then yeah, the last 2 weeks have just been a whirlwind. So yeah, we'll see what can happen with Belter. We're already looking at, we've designed like loads of stuff for that. So that should be exciting. I've got my teaching there, which that's why I did it. It's always there. It's always something I can go into.
Yeah.
The coaching side of things, again, I've got some of my coaching badges, so it's always an option. But I think when I've been in football, it's kind of been an eye-opener that you can literally, there's so much out there to do. I'm only 26, so hopefully the boots won't be.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a few years yet, Georgia. We're not writing you off and saying you're over the hill just yet. Absolutely.
We'll see.
But it must be good to have plans like that, though, to know that you're starting things that will possibly be a future for you before you've even thought about retiring from football. I mean, like you say, you've got years left in the game, but it's nice to have something else to focus on. So when you come home, it's, you know, instead of sort of marking exams or stuff, whatever you did when you were a teacher, you know, it must have been strange coming back and then thinking, right, I've got so much more time to myself now, and it's important to try and fill that time instead of doing nothing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think the silver lining from it is you get to see your family a lot more. I recently moved back over the water, south of the water. I lived in Newcastle for a lot of years, so I've recently moved back towards my family, which is nice, a lot closer.
Nothing wrong with the Durham area, Georgia. Durham is God's country.
It's a lovely area. It's a lovely area. Yeah, like especially at the minute, I've got a lot of my family actually still live abroad, so it's been nice to see some of them a lot closer at the Christmas time. And yeah, I just like to fill my time, so I've got plenty up my sleeve, and we'll see what happens in the next few years.
Sam, there's a question here, which it's from Emma Irwin saying, a question for Georgia. Does she remember a player called Grace Donnelly? She was a PE teacher at my daughter's school. As far as I'm aware, you still play with Grace Donnelly, don't you?
Yeah, I still play with Grace Donnelly. Grace is a great girl. She's a lovely girl. I went to college with Grace. I've been to college. I went to uni with Grace. I've lived with Grace. Her family actually now live up the road from me. Yeah, really, really close to Grace. I've known her a lot of years.
Sam?
Love that. I just think it's class. That question threw me for a second. I was like,
well, I was looking at the chat and thinking, Grace Donnelly, she still plays.
Yeah, I was more worried that I wouldn't remember the player, and I was thinking, right, don't forget anyone you've played with. And then when that name came up, it was
that's always the problem. Yeah, but I thought, hang on, she's still playing. There can't be two of them, so.
No.
Well, at least
there's only one Grace Donnelly.
Absolutely.
There's only one. There's absolutely only one. Well, I tell you what, Georgia, we're getting questions which are all about Belter clothing. Like, what can we expect in the future? Yep. Do you do stuff in kids sizes? Like, when are we getting restocks? Right, because you are going to be sold out by the end of tonight, I've got no doubt. So when's the restock
I think I might have sold out, to be honest. I think we've had about 4 sales come in when we've been talking, so I think that'll be it. But
the power of the Toon review, Sam.
No, the new stock is just literally due any day now. So yeah,
brilliant.
Great. Right. Well, for everybody who's viewing, who's either watching this on the live with us right now, or you're watching the pre-record, get yourselves on Insta at Belter Hats. I'm sure there'll be a post going up to say when the restock takes place. So get yourself signed up, and then you're on there, because you've done giveaways and you're showing us the lines and stuff. So yeah, get yourself signed up there, people.
Is there any? You mentioned the website, Georgia. Is that out? Is that online yet, or is it something that's coming?
No, it's coming. We've got the domain and everything, and it's getting designed. But we're gonna. I mean, the original plan was to drop the website, but we've now got no stock to put on the website. So yeah, as soon as the restock's in, the website will go live with the restock. Yeah.
Chippers is asking that, do the hats cater for big heads, Georgia? Because his is massive, and I can definitely agree with that. It's huge.
No, you can't have a hat. We're not putting them up and putting like gaping holes in the side just so you can fit it on your head, mate.
Well, I'll certainly be ordering one when they come in, because the winter time is a bit chilly for people with no hair, or they keep it very, very short. So that's fantastic. Thomas Smith asks, Georgia, who is your favourite player of all time?
That's a really good question. For some reason, when I was younger, I don't think it's a negative, but one of my favourite players was Damien Duff.
Really?
And yeah, somebody asked. I did an interview the other day, and someone was like, "Right, favourite player of all time," and I thought, well, it has to be Damien Duff, because every kit I've got from when I was little has Duff 11 on the back. So wow. I've got one.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all.
Well, I mean, I'm sure many people might not even kind of remember he played for the Toon, but Nobby Solano was up there as well.
Nice.
I used to pretend to be Nobby Solano in the garden. My brother used to be Shea Given. He used to have Given on the back of all of his tops. But yeah, no, probably Damien Duff I'm going to have to go with, because he was on the back of all my shirts.
Stato has put boo, Damien Duff, boo. So I take it. I mean,
Stato.
I know. You say you watch a lot of the men's game as well, Georgia. It's, I guess, watching as a fan, watching the men, it must be, seeing them perform so well like they did on Saturday. Do you have can you understand what they're saying when they come out in the interviews and saying about the consistency and things like that? And how do you change that as a group? How do you talk about it? If it happens to you guys, do you talk about it in the dressing room away from Becky and then with Becky, or do you're just all in it together?
Yeah, I think they're the times that kind of challenge you as a squad and as a team, and it's just literally about kind of. I think some players like to use it, like to listen to it and use it as motivation. Some players are very good at just blocking it out. It's always going to be there. I think it's something you've got to accept, that when you're in the public eye, people are going to have their opinions and their comments, and they're more than entitled to that. Fans are now paying money to come and watch us. Likewise with the men, you've got to appreciate that some people are kind of spending their hard-earned cash on doing so, and obviously all the merch that they buy. But I think also we know how much hard work goes into it. We know the preparation, and it's not just week by week, it's the all year round. Obviously we've got, as a women's team, we have kind of a mini off season in the winter. We get a bit of a winter break, but it's not kind of switch off for 2 weeks. It's continuing to work hard, obviously, so you can get your consistency into January, February, March, which are a make or break months in terms of the league. So yeah, I think it shows your togetherness as a team when you get through those hard times. It shows what you're kind of about. We listen, we can hear you, we feel your frustration as well when it's not going right. We're not happy either. We want it to work. So yeah, it's frustrating, but we've got to stick together as a fan base, as a club, as a squad, as everything.
Yeah,
it must be so hard because, like, you know, all your successes and your challenges are played out on a public stage where everybody's rooting for you, everybody's got your backs, but it's a form of entertainment at the same time. And yeah, I can't imagine being in that position where, you know, you're having to be so mentally strong to build yourself up after either a challenge or arguably a failure or something. It must be difficult mentally.
Yeah, and like I said to you both earlier in the chat, we're a team used to winning as well. I think so. That is something that we've really had to learn this season. That we knew it wasn't going to be a walk in the park. No season has ever been a walk in the park, but in the past we've always been on the kind of positive end of a result. So yeah, it's like, when you do start to get those draws or you concede first, because again, last season, the season prior, we weren't used to even conceding goals very often. So that's something as a squad we've really had to learn, and kind of learn fast, because games come week by week. They come thick and fast. We've got midweek games, which what a lot of people want. We didn't have those last year. We didn't have that local derby in Tier 3, so we were never subject to a midweek game. So our processes last year every week were very consistent. Our routines were spot on. Game days were Sundays, days off were Mondays, Friday, and it was consistent. Where this year we're having to adapt constantly, week in, week out. So yeah, it's something we've had to learn to deal with, and I think we've done. Hats off to the squad. We've done really well. You can't dwell on it. What's happened? You've got to use it as a learning. Nothing's ever a negative. You learn from it and you move on. So.
And is it against the, you know, you've played a couple of the WSL sides this season as well, and I think put up a very, very good, strong performances against them. I mean, Manchester United last week, Sam was on here live, and she was bouncing up and down. The goals were flying in, and but it's them kind of games, I guess, that you're talking about, that you've got to see them as a kind of a learning curve as well, because they're in the Super League. That's what you aspire to be, where you aspire to be. So you've got to take them as positives to learn from, even though the results didn't quite go your way.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a really interesting 12 months, because we obviously started our first away game of the 2024 away to Manchester United in the FA Cup, which was, again, I think a really positive performance for where we were currently at that moment in time. We were then able to go back almost 12 months later and use it to kind of reflect and see how far we've come. Now, disappointing, we conceded 5 goals. Likewise we did when we first visited them, but this time we scored 3 goals. And I think also something that we kind of, again, prided ourselves on, it's a real positive, is last time was the FA Cup. We were massively the underdogs. So kind of the whole support, the fans that came down the whole day out, it was still a massive, like, wow moment for the club. Where the most previous game last week, against Man U was like, right, okay, we deserve to be here. We've earned the right to play in this cup, to play in this competition and play against Manchester United. Yes, we're underdogs in terms of WSL and the Championship, but we're here to compete this time.
Yeah,
we're here to really give them a good go. And I think credit to the lasses, they didn't stop till the 90th minute, and that's why we got late goals. At one point the wheels could have fallen off, but I think it shows our sheer commitment, determination, pride, and kind of passion that we keep going, and we don't stop till the very end. And that goes for any game. And likewise Liverpool, we weren't happy with the Liverpool performance. A lot of people might say, well, they're WSL opposition, they've got international players, X, Y, and Z. We can give all the excuses we want in the world, but for us, Newcastle United, and the DNA that we carry, the hard work, off the ball, the out of possession stuff that we see from the men and the women across the whole club, it wasn't good enough that day. And I think, but credit to us, we scored a late goal, and that's because we won't stop. So yeah.
I love that, and you know what, we can see it, and you know, I'm a big fan of the Facebook community. So on our Tuesday War Lasses show, we interviewed Angela. She's a War Flags volunteer, and she's also got the women's Facebook group. So if anybody hasn't checked it out, Newcastle United Women, because we sort of feel like there's almost a lack of information. So as fans, we club together to find information that we can, and we share it on there. And the support after the performance at Man U was absolutely class. Everybody was like, they've done us so proud, we're so impressed. Like in the comparisons, you can see how we're kicking on. Like everybody was thrilled. Like everybody's behind the team. It's class.
Yeah, it doesn't go unrecognised. The fan support is like we said earlier. We undoubtedly have the best fans in the country. And as Geordies, will forever support our club. But yeah, we've come a long way, and I think also, like I was just saying previously in the previous question, I think fans have also had to adjust to the results aren't going to go our way. Again, like last year, it was kind of every week come and see a winning side, come and see a winning side, and yes, some of them games were really challenging against the likes of Wolves and Nottingham Forest and other fixtures that we had. Portsmouth at St James's Park, like blooming heck, we left that one late. But I think it's been a real kind of journey for a lot of people this year, on and off the pitch. But I think, like you say, the fans group, when you hear the comments, and we hear those comments as well through family and friends, they're there constantly, and they've got our backs, which is amazing.
Well, it's just obviously we're coming up to the hour, so we'll not keep you longer than that, Georgia. I just want to ask, and I think a lot of people, when they knew they were coming on, wanted to ask about the impact that Amanda had on the women's team, because she devoted a lot of time and a lot of, I guess, pushed money and made the professional dream come true for you guys as well after the takeover. I mean, what was she like as a person around? Because I know she came to training sessions, games. What was she like as a person to sort of lift you guys up?
Yeah, she's incredibly special, and will again, those of us who have been here a long time, as well as those who unfortunately didn't get the chance to meet her this season, who are new to the team. But we all know how special she was, and kind of those girls who have come in this season kind of understand and recognise what Amanda's done for the team to even allow those girls to be able to come to Newcastle United as full-time professional players. But speaking from personal experience, she's absolutely fantastic. She's she's an amazing woman, really inspiring. What she has done for the women's team, I'll forever be grateful for the opportunities that I was provided with. She personally was she had that personal touch. She knew your name. She knew bits about you. When she saw you, she kind of greeted you with that real sense of kind of, right, okay, I belong here. And it was really special. And her dad as well, he was absolutely fantastic. We met their son as well, came along to a few of our sessions, and that was really kind of special. So yeah, the kind of the opportunities that provided the women's team, and what the platform that they built, that we're now kind of building on, it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Do you know what, Georgia? I was there for the game of the season. I think it was the Huddersfield 10-0 win, and I think did you get the 10th goal in that game as well? It was class. And it was such a special day for everybody. We felt like it was on the cards, but it was such a showcase of just how confident and strong we were. And it was just a brilliant day. But actually seeing Amanda and Mairdad there, like the tears in the eyes, and Colin Locke, God rest him, he was there, and it was just such a special time for us to be a part of. You can't fake that type of emotion. Like all of us, certainly around me in the stands, we were like, that's real emotion right there. So I'm so thrilled that she's been a part of the journey for the club, and it's impacted you personally as well. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, that day, as many of the fans will know, was we saw a real, like you say, a real emotional investment from not only Amanda and Mairdad, but Darren Eales as well was there, which was fantastic. And I think again it shows exactly what kind of people they are, and they truly were invested in us as well as in us.
Well, there'll certainly be a huge miss. Well, they are already across both the men's and the women's team and around the Newcastle United fan base. She'll certainly never be forgotten for what what herself and Mairdad did, especially with the takeover and really with the women's side. It's just incredible what they did. Final question, Joy. I don't know whether you've got another question like that, Sam, before we're round things up.
No, I'm good. I'm good to wrap it.
Right. Just one more question. And every Newcastle United fan will be hugely jealous of this. That goal you scored at the Gallagher, you're talking about the Portsmouth game. How did that feel? Because I can't, as a Newcastle fan, to score that late in the game in such an important match at the Gallagher end. I mean, just tell us what sort of emotions you had while you were running to that corner flag, because I think we use for the War Lasses show, we use that background as our thumbnail, with everybody piling on top of you. What was that like?
Yeah, crazy. So many people ask me if it's my favourite goal. In terms of kind of what it meant, that is hands down. I'll never score another goal like it with, like you say, the celebrations. I just remember the ball hit my head and I was like, this is in. I know it is. I was off. I was off to the Gallagher. My head hurt. You know, you've shouted and screamed that loud and your head's like hurting. And we're walking back to the centre circle, and I was like, "Here, lasses, I think I might have wept yourself." Like I pushed that hard. Like honestly, that feeling is like unmatched.
That's
like
brilliant.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, I didn't expect that answer either, Georgia. So
wow.
yeah, I mean,
if you want an honest answer, there it is. But
wow.
Yeah, honestly,
listen, that's perfectly understandable, to be honest. You know, unless you've done it and been there, you can't generate that feeling. It's just incredible. But Sam, I think we're done. Do you want to close the show, or do you want me to do it?
Well, I tell you, all I want to say is thank you so much, Georgia, for coming on. And you know, we're really keen on this channel to promote the lasses. Absolutely. We always tell people to get down, come and support in person, and just to see the rise in the history that you've given us and the memories. It's been amazing. Best of luck with Belter. We've been sharing the links all night, so everybody, viewers, get yourselves on Instagram, get yourselves following, and heart on Etsy as well, so you can keep up to date with stuff. But thank you so much, Georgia. And Paul, I'll let you close the show. I couldn't possibly do that.
Oh, well, you did it last week fine, didn't you, on the wall?
I did, yeah, you're right. I did, you're right. I can do it.
Well, but I'll do it anyway. I'll not put you through the pressure. Listen, Georgia, we'll let you go now. Thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. If any of the other lasses want to come on, just tell them that anyone's welcome to come on, because we'll keep promoting the women's team as you know, we do that show once a week. We keep promoting, and we will do so going forward. Obviously, Sam and Aaron present Aaron and Sam present the lasses show, so that you know, the more we can get on and interview you guys, the more we can promote and things like that. But listen, best of luck for the rest of the season, and of course, in your business adventure. I'm sure you're going to get lots of orders for some hats in the next few days.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully.
But you take care. Yeah, absolutely. You take care, and we'll hopefully get you back on very soon, Georgia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good night. Good night. So there you go, guys. That was Georgia Gibson, Newcastle United women's midfielder. And Sam, to tell you the truth, what a breath of fresh air listening to a player like Georgia like that. What she has to say, and very level-headed, very level-headed.
Yeah, humble, just fantastic experience stories. I think this is the mindset piece that we've been talking about, and we see a lot of the lasses doing that. If you follow any of them on Instagram, having a strong mind is almost as important as a strong body and knowing your tactics and knowing the game. Yeah. And what a showcase of it there! Like, part of history, Georgia Gibson. What an honor to actually have her on, and best of luck with Belter Clothing.
I mean, just a wonderful personality as well, really. You can see the kind of camaraderie just from speaking to Georgia that goes on in that lass's dressing room. Just brilliant to get an insight into everything. And do support her, guys, with the hats and stuff, and obviously whatever future endeavors with clothing that she brings out. We've got a couple of super chats just to round off the show. Yvonne, thank you for yours. Good night, all. Thanks for the chat, TTR lasses. Alexander sent another one in saying, will I be able to buy in bulk for my family? I don't see why not. Listen, the more orders you get,
restocking, Georgia, absolutely. Come on.
Absolutely. But that is it for tonight, guys. Don't forget, tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning, we have the press conference reaction with me and Billy as Eddie speaks to the media ahead of the quarterfinal with Brentford on Wednesday. Tomorrow night, we've got the match preview, of course. We'll be taking a look at how Brentford might line up, how we might line up, and, of course, the match predictions. And Wednesday, 7:15, Matchday Live, the quarterfinal, full commentary right here with me and Billy, and, of course, Stato with his analysis. Big week coming up, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, in fact, am I pulling another double shift tomorrow? So the 7 p.m. and then war lasses at 8.
Hey, you are welcome to do a double shift. I don't want to pressure you, but
doing it.
We'd love to have you on the preview. Absolutely.
I feel mentally stronger now, so I'm going to do it.
Exactly. But also, guys, Sven Botman made his return tonight for the under-21s. Last time I looked, they were winning 2-0 as well. So it's great to see him back on the pitch, Sam.
Imagine being one of the lads who's actually under 21 and coming against the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, the frame that is Sven Botman is like it'd be like a mini bouncing off a truck.
But you know what? What great experience for them as well.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant. Right, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Give it a like if you've enjoyed the show. And, of course, please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. And thank you to the mods. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. And, of course, a big thank you to Sam. And a massive thank you to Georgia for spending an hour with us tonight. Thank you again to our channel sponsor, Mamaroo Records. Check them out in Whitley Bay if you're ever around the area, right in the town centre. If you can't get to the shop, have a look online for all your vinyls, your CDs, your music merchandise, sporting goods, things like that. They've got it all. Gift cards, if you want to get some gift cards in for Christmas, their link is pinned at the top of the description. But that is it. We will see you all tomorrow morning and tomorrow night. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Monday, folks. It's good night from us.
Come back and check out some green.